the Biscuits and Blurays podcast, where we watch Blu-rays and the biscuit made me miss. And I never miss. I'm your host, James. Other host, Jade.
Hello.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Back from our honeymoon.
We are, and I'm so sad.
Honeymoon. We had a lovely little time in Disneyland Paris, didn't we?
Disney Moon.
Disney Moon. Well, honeymoon. It's all related, you see, because the week we got married, we did Corpse Bride, and on our honeymoon, we're talking about full moons and werewolves.
We are. It all connects.
It all connects. I've done really good there, and it was completely by accident.
I did think he can't have planned this.
Okay, I'm going to take that back. I might edit it out, but I might... Yeah, it was completely all planned.
I planned all this.
I'm that smart. You are not in the Halloween mood at all this year, are you?
No.
It's not a vibe for you this year.
It's not hit me this year.
What gives?
I don't know. I think it's because wedding planning has taken up so much of my life that this year I get into the Halloween mood early, and I just couldn't, because we got married on the 13th, so it was all the run up. I thought Disneyland being Halloween themed everywhere would get me in the mood. It still didn't.
Okay.
Also pumpkin picking the week before, it didn't.
Nothing.
So it's annoying because it's my favourite season, but it doesn't mean I'm not enjoying it.
Okay.
How about you? Were you in a Halloweeny mood?
Yes.
Festive season's got you.
I always get sucked into Halloween. I love it. It is the best time of the year. I do prefer it to Christmas.
Incorrect, but okay.
Do you think that the spooky dooky movies we picked this year just don't lend itself to Halloween that much?
Which one was the first one? Corpse Bride, I think, does.
Young Frankenstein, Corpse Bride, Five Nights at Freddy's, and this one.
Yeah. I think the one that feels most Halloween-y, I'd probably say, is Corpse Bride. Mm-hmm. Five Nights, I think, will become a big one, I think.
Further down the line.
Further down the line, people will make that a holiday staple. Young Frankenstein, I think the people that love it watch it all the time, every year. This one, again, I think is... People watch it around this time of year, but they're not Halloween staples as such. Not like Hocus Pocus.
Which is weird to me, because of all the Halloween movies that get the love, the slashers, the serial killers, the zombies, and the ghosts and the ghouls, werewolves don't get much love and appreciation.
No. Have there been a great deal of really, really good werewolf movies, do you think?
I can probably name 2, 3 more. That's not included in the sequel to this one. And
I just don't know why they don't get the same love, maybe.
I think it's a credit to this film. We're talking about American Werewolf in... London. There it is. American Werewolf in London did it so well that I think maybe people just went, we can't live up to that.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't have a source material as such, like the likes of Frankenstein and Dracula does, where it just keeps getting reincarnated year after year. Mm-hmm. With werewolves, it's just a general myth. But
you see that the transformation in this, and you go, well, I've seen them all then.
Yeah.
No filmmaker could do a werewolf transformation different to this. And let's face it, that's all that everyone wants in a werewolf movie.
Yeah, because other than somebody turning into a wolf, there's nothing else I suppose you can really add to it. Whereas, for example, with vampires, there's a lot of different laws and mythologies you can pop in there. I mean, I suppose Twilight touched on werewolves a little bit, and True Blood did, and that sort of stuff.
I don't count those.
But they're things that people liked.
Yeah, okay. Were-Rabbit, I guess.
Yeah.
Even then, that's quite old-fashioned werewolf stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas this one it's a bit more grim, a bit more, I want to say realistic, because I think it is.
I think, whenever you get anything werewolf-related, I think the films tend to be quite bloody. Do you know what I mean?
Well, are we talking about the old black and white Bela Lugosi ones?
I suppose it's how is a werewolf going to kill you?
Probably just rip your throat out.
Exactly, it's going to tear you apart. Whereas a vampire, it's two bites really. I mean, I know there are bloody vampire films out there, but
I'm looking at you, 30 Days a Night.
But do you know what I mean? You can make that a little bit where the blood pops when you see it on screen because it's only like a little bit. Werewolves are going to tear you apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Like The Room.
Yeah, so do we get many middle ground werewolf films?
I don't think so. We haven't seen The Howling. We should probably say that.
We should probably see The Howling at some point.
Which is weird to me, because I like the movies of Joe Dante. He directed Dante's Peak. No, he didn't. Small Soldiers, Looney Tunes Back in Actions, Gremlins. But this is the one. The ultimate werewolf movie, you could say.
I love this film.
Are you glad we picked it for this season?
I am.
Good. I haven't seen it in a long time. How old were you when you first watched it?
Ooh, I think I must have been about 14.
Oh, okay. So 4 years younger than the actual certificate of the movie.
Yeah, so I was introduced to this from my dad.
Okay. Did you like it from that point?
I did. I liked this instantly. I thought it was great.
What did you like about it?
I liked the relationships between the characters.
Okay.
I thought it was great. I was first introduced to this movie via watching the making of the Thriller video.
Okay, we'll talk about Thriller later, but it's the same people that basically work. Let's talk about it now. Thriller owes a lot to this.
Yeah.
Because Michael Jackson, who is a fan of this movie, sorry, basically went, I need that for my music video. Mm-hmm. And everyone was on board, basically.
Yeah.
Elmer Bernstein came on to do a bit of the music for the Thriller video. Rick Baker was the special effects guy, and then John Landis directed it.
Michael Jackson basically just wanted to recreate that transformation scene for himself.
Now, I remember seeing the Thriller video when I was a kid. I was obsessed with the song Thriller. Mm-hmm. I thought that's iconic. I love that. And then my parents, I think Channel 4, just one night was like, okay, we're going to put Thriller on. When I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I must have been about 8, 9. Mm-hmm. Scared the shit out of me. To this day, I still haven't watched it in its entirety.
Oh, you're missing out.
I am. I've seen the zombie big dancing stuff, but it's the bit where, at the start...
And when you transfer... It's exactly the same as this.
Exactly. There's a moment in this that reminds me of that. We'll talk about it later. But, yeah. But I didn't watch this until I was my first year at uni.
What made you watch it?
People told me to watch it. People were like, I think it was around Halloween. People were like, oh, you've not seen American Werewolf, you should check it out. And I did. And I really liked it. Apart from that one.
What did you really like about this film, James?
No, I liked it. I like a werewolf. I find that lore quite interesting. I'm not 100% clued up on it. Mm-hmm. But I do like... Oh, he becomes a big old wolf boy. I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer was probably my first introduction.
Buffy.
to werewolves. There's a werewolf in that, isn't there?
Probably.
Yeah, yeah.
I never watched it.
Okay. I think you'd like it. It's like Supernatural, but a bit more 90s.
Yeah, see, there was always the people in my year at school who watched it. Mm-hmm. But I never was on... I never had... I don't know why I never did, because it is really up my street.
Yeah.
I should check it out at some point.
I think as well, part of me was... I've always been a big fan of Animal House and Blues Brothers. Mm-hmm. Dan Aykroyd, John Landis and John Belushi. So I just sort of went through their filmography a little bit and was like, oh, American Werewolf, that makes sense. I'll watch that soon. And this was around like when I first watched it as well. And I just don't get how the same person who directed The Blues Brothers directed American Werewolf in London.
But let's just say I'm glad that he didn't use that same cast.
They were itching to, I think. Yeah,
because I think if you'd have had Aykroyd and Belushi, it wouldn't have been as good as it is now.
Do you think this is a bit of a comedy, though?
Yeah, definitely.
I think so. I don't think it's without its laughs. Because there are funny moments in it.
Yeah.
But if it had have cast Aykroyd and Belushi, it would have turned into Blues Brothers, but with more blood and guts.
Yeah, I think it works as well as it does, is because you have to... You see that because I hadn't seen those actors in anything before when I watched this. Okay. I don't know, I felt like I was rooting for them a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen them in anything else. Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, it's the Blues Brothers.
Well, the cast here, we've got David Norton and Griffin Dunne. You are a big fan of Griffin Dunne.
Oh, I am. He's such a nice-looking man.
Would you like to explain your
fantasy?
Well, not fantasy, but how you know him.
I know him through this, and I also know him from the really cheesy Madonna movie, Who's That Girl? Which I really like. Okay. And I shouldn't, but I really do. It's a scribble comedy. It lost loads of fucking money. But I really like that film.
Who does Griffin Dunne play in Who's That Girl?
He's the male lead.
Oh, okay.
And they're completely miscast against each other. But they're great.
Did they date?
I don't think so.
I'm going to start that rumour. Griffin Dunne and Madonna
They dated each other. I actually watched that because I liked him so much in American Werewolf. I think it started my little crush I had.
Okay.
And then he was at HorrorCon, wasn't he?
Recently, he did a talk and he had photo opportunities. Me and you aren't the sort of people to do photo opportunities.
Not really, but we did see him. I did get to see him.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, and he's still beautiful, guys.
He still looks the same. David Norton doesn't. David Norton aged. Griffin Dunne and David Norton, they're basically new people in Hollywood in this one. But David Norton was doing adverts for Dr. Pepper at the time. Uh-huh. And then he did this movie, and Dr. Pepper dropped him because he got nude in this movie. So they were like, oh, everyone's seen your penis. No more pepper for you.
No more Dr. Pepper. People have seen the peen.
Yeah. But, I agree with you. I think it's a benefit to the film that they are relatively unknowns.
Yeah, I think so. I think horror works with that particularly well.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're thinking, oh, where have I seen this person before? Oh, where have I seen this person before? It can suck you out sometimes.
Yeah. But also, I think horror as a genre is quite welcoming to anyone who, even in films that aren't particularly any good, they'll find a fan base somewhere, and the fans will be like, oh, because you're in that horror movie.
I think as well, it's a good opportunity for new actors to get into the business through horror movies, because studios don't tend to give the massive budgets to horror films, really. They tend to give it to the sci-fis, the big adventure films, those sorts of movies. And then to get those sorts of budgets, you tend to need a star cast.
Yeah.
In some respect.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Whether that's leading it or a all-star ensemble. So horror, I think, is a good way for newer actors to get their foot in the door.
I could probably name like 4 or 5 actors who have got their start in horror movies.
Yeah, so that's probably why it's so good for that, because it also draws you in. I tend to prefer the horror movies that are the big starting points for certain careers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Also, this is technically a British movie.
It is.
And I love that.
Yeah, okay. And a good old British horror film.
It feels British as well, though. Even though the only Americans, really, that are of big note are Rick Baker, the special effects makeup guy, David Norton, Griffin Dunn, and John Landis. It's 4 people. Mm-hmm. The rest of them were basically, everyone was British.
Yeah.
Vibe.
It's such a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very proper, isn't it?
However, do you think there's often a misconception with how Americans perceive the British way of life?
This will be no different.
Do you not think?
I think I think there's still people in the States that think this is Britain.
Well, okay. Well, let's look at the time. I think, what was this, 80s? So I imagine people were going, oh, you've got to be, everyone's very posh in Britain. I don't think there's any Americans who would then go, oh, what's the Yorkshire accent?
Yeah.
I think this is a fairly accurate representation of what Britain is.
You do?
Without overdoing it, yeah.
I think the pub scenes, I think it's a little bit, I think it probably was at the time, but I do think there is strong elements of what it can be like now. Because, I've had it before. I remember going to Tatchell Lakes and we all went to the pub one day.
What is Tatchell Lakes?
It's like a little holiday park. Okay. It's got like a little town next to it. We all went into the pub. Everybody turned and looked at us. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, what the fuck are all these people doing in here? And then we went to sit down on a bar stool and we got moved off because one of the locals were like, that's my seat. I always sit there. Even though he wasn't in the bar when we all sat down.
Yeah.
When he came in about 40 minutes later, he demanded that we move because that's where he sits.
Did you move?
But everyone started on us. And we're thinking, oh shit, well, there's no point staying here if you're going to be like this.
Yeah.
But so there are places, I think, that still exist like that. And it can be quite menacing almost.
I see what you mean. Quite threatening.
Yeah.
Quite threatening aura. We should talk about, let's just talk about it straight off the bat. Mm. The transformation scene is fire.
Oh, yeah.
Like, straight up. Like, the problem the film has, for me, and this is with, like, eyes who have seen this film before, leading up to the transformation, I'm like, okay, this is okay. And then the transformation happens, and the film there's nothing else in the film as good as that. Even all the way through the first half of the movie, you're like, I know when that transformation scene is going to happen. Mm-hmm. I can't wait for it, and you're waiting for it the whole time. And then it's there, and then it's like, oh.
Oh,
great.
no, I don't agree.
I genuinely think that. I think there's glimpses of gold everywhere else. I think this is a pretty good movie in general. But that transformation scene elevates it to something else.
No, I think it starts off initially. I think it starts really well, this film. Mm-hmm. And then when he's in the hospital and we see Griffin Dunn with all his injuries, that's a really good scene. And the makeup is absolutely top notch. I prefer the makeup in that scene than I do the transformation.
Okay.
It's because I love all the moving parts. And because it's all kind of, they do a lot of it and we get some long shots, I get to really focus on the makeup.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
I think, Rick Baker is a god for doing this. He's won 2 Oscars, Rick Baker.
As he should.
Both of them for werewolf movies. He did the makeup for The Wolfman, the remake of it.
Yeah.
But that is mostly CGI as well.
That was my main complaint with
That one.
one.
They are doing Wolfman again, just next year, I think that comes out. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, Rick Baker basically, and I don't think he won the Oscar on this one for the effects of the transformation, because a lot of that is puppetry and animatronic, I guess, and people just moving the legs, and the hairs were essentially a hairy thing, and then the hairs were just pulled from the other side. Mm-hmm. But then the film was reversed.
Yeah,
that's all good filmmaking. That, but like you said, it is the effects on Griffin Dunne, particularly in the first time you see him after the attack.
I think that was my favourite in the entire film.
I like his little flap of skin, don't you?
I like that little bit of skin that's just flapping away. I think it's great.
It's grotesque, but it's not over the top.
No, like I can still look at him, but it's so detailed, and I just love it. Like his whole neck is in shreds. Usually,
I think as well with these horror films from the 80s and 70s and 60s and whatever, you can tell that the prosthetics are just placed onto a person.
Yeah.
I think from this point onwards, even like today, I think sometimes you can see a good slash on the face, and it'd be like, that's good makeup.
Yeah.
But here, Griffin Dunne's been ripped to pieces.
It looks like he's literally been ripped to fuck, and I absolutely love it. Mm-hmm. But I think then when we see him later on, I don't like the other two makeup looks quite as much. I think the skin going green and then him going all skeletal, I think it just looks... In the third one, he looks like an animatronic, even though, as we saw, he isn't.
No, he is.
He's not all of him is an animatronic, is he?
Okay, I think... Okay, so you see him at 3 points you see him in the film after he's been killed. The first time, it's the bloody, dangly neck slit that you like.
Yeah.
The second time, he's sort of decomposing a bit.
His skin's green, and it looks too Thriller to me.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. But I think that's quite accurate to what human bodies do, is it?
I don't know enough, but I think it looks too much like a Halloween makeup to me, that one.
That looks like Griffin Dunne's been basically put in a cast, and then they've just slapped stuff on his face. Mm-hmm. Whereas the effect before seems like there are chunks of him missing.
See, I would have preferred if they just kept him like that. I mean, I know why they've got him decomposing and it's supposed to look more horrific.
Yeah.
But I think it still would have worked.
The third time you see him, he waves you into the porno theatre. Mm-hmm. But you've got the benefit of that being quite a far away shot. Mm-hmm. So you see him in the distance, so you can't really...
And that looks all right.
That looks okay. But when you see him close up in the thingy, that is a puppet. Mm-hmm. So the only bit of makeup Griffin Dunne had to do really was there was 2, even though he did the voice for the third bit.
Yeah.
You can tell it's a puppet as well, because it's not a particularly good one.
That's the thing. I think that's what lets it down, especially when you've got that next to the other fresh victims when they're all sat together in the movie theatre. Mm-hmm. They all look great.
Yeah.
And I think it's because the blood is so vivid as well, and they're all very fucked up. Mm-hmm. But I think they just look so much creepier and scarier. I think they should have kept Griffin as they did.
That's fair.
But again, I can see why they didn't. So I think he's my favourite makeup in this, and them. And I like the start of the transformation scene. When he starts to go like full wolf and he starts to get all hairy and his face is looking weird, I could have done with it being cut from then. Do
you prefer seeing his hand extend and stuff like that?
And that's bit's okay. And I think the bits where his feet are extending and his arms, and then we see the kind of what's that thing in your back? Spine. His spine. I completely forgot that was then. Uh-huh. Where you see his spine like all like popping out. That's vile, but it's so good, and the reactions are amazing.
Yeah.
I know they wanted to show obviously the face changing.
You've got to, I think.
Yeah.
Rick Baker and John Landis Rick Baker put a lot of work into this. He did the effects for The Howling, and then John Landis was like, okay, American Werewolf's ready to go. Jump ship. Mm-hmm. So The Howling's got a bit of Rick Baker and stuff as well.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it, but I imagine the transformation scenes aren't dissimilar.
No idea. Like I said, I've not seen it to comment.
However, I did a bit of research on this. This is the first werewolf movie where the werewolf is on all fours. It's a man turning into a wolf.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones are Wolfman-esque.
Yeah.
So it's just a guy walking around the street with normal clothes on. Just a hairy guy.
Maybe that's the thing. Whenever I've seen Wolfman makeup from back in the day, I think it does just look like makeup.
Yeah.
where it just doesn't scare me. So I suppose that's why I've not really been as interested in those films.
It's a man who is a wolf, whereas this is a werewolf, which essentially is a man who turns into a wolf.
Yeah.
I think that's the different thing. But I think this is probably the first one where, firstly, the performance in that scene alone sells it. Because it looks painful.
Yeah.
I think it's credit to, and I'm going to say, it's not dissimilar to The Exorcist.
I knew you was going to point on that.
I've got to drop that in there. The sound design.
Yeah.
Of the bones crunching and the skin like stretching and stuff is what adds to it as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I only say that because in The Exorcist, with the neck spinning around, the leather wallet effect. Yeah. I'm just gonna say.
He's gonna get it out there.
It looks horrifying, and I think if you'd have cut any of that out, bad times. I think you're missing something.
And I think the soundtrack playing with it as well is absolutely genius. I think this has got one of the best movie soundtracks.
Are you talking? You're not talking the score. You're talking the songs they use.
The songs. I think the songs are great.
Now, okay, it's all moon based.
It's all moon based, but they're all banging songs. Why are there so many good songs created about the fucking moon?
It's not that. I think one of them is just 3 different versions of Blue Moon.
Why is there so many good versions of that song? Why?
Let's talk Bad Moon Rising. Vibe.
It is.
That plays earlier in the film, but in this scene, Blue Moon, You Saw Me Standing Alone.
Yeah.
That's a juxtaposition. Thank you. Where it's like a nice upbeat song, but this guy's going through it.
Yeah.
Vibe. So these 2 Americans, they arrive in England. Beware the Moors.
Beware the Moors. Well, Wes was watching the special features. They turn up on screen in a truck with loads of sheep.
Okay.
And they're in the back of the truck with the sheep. They're clearly hitchhiking.
And what is the metaphor that they're going for there?
They are the sheep. They're going to the slaughter. So they're literally doomed from the first scene, really.
Now that is good direction.
Yeah. They're both of them lambs to the slaughter.
I think, well, John Landis wrote this himself. He's got the only screenwriting credit. I'm not a huge fan of John Landis.
Yeah. Was this before or after you read all the controversy about the Twilight movie?
Should we talk about the Twilight movie now?
If you want.
There's been a famous incident with the Twilight Zone movie. There's a few bits in that are genuinely quite scary. I've seen them on top 10 lists and stuff like that. However, there was an incident on the set of the movie where 3 people lost their lives. They were killed, and it was a big court case that basically lasted like a decade or something. Not too dissimilar from what happened recently with Alec Baldwin and stuff.
Yeah.
And John Landis doesn't come out of that looking like a good guy. No,
he doesn't.
He worked on the Twilight Zone movie with Spielberg. Spielberg's basically cut ties with John Landis after this, after that incident. And I just don't think his star ever really recovered.
No, I mean, especially because Spielberg does so much cater to families and children. So that incident in particular, with it centering around children as well. Yeah.
Spielberg had no involvement in that. You should read into it, guys. It's not pleasant, but...
No, I mean, there is a documentary about it on Shudder.
Yeah, it was in the Cursed Movies documentary.
Because I think the whole thing, wasn't it? The whole movie just had loads of problems in general.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie. I'm not particularly interested.
No.
But that is an incident that happened. I think... But I think a lot of John Landis's movies that I've seen anyway are good, but I wouldn't say they're outstanding.
I thought you'd think that about the Blues Brothers.
The Blues Brothers is great. But even then, I don't think that's at the top of my list when it comes to my favourite comedies.
No, to be fair with the Blues Brothers, while I like certain scenes in it, and I love the soundtrack, it's not a film I'd put on, because I find bits of it boring.
And then we also have Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh, we don't talk about that shit.
So, do you see what I mean? I don't think he's particularly interesting as a filmmaker. I find him a bit surface level.
Okay.
Whereas I think Spielberg and Joe Dante, I find a little bit more. There's more going on there. I think this is quite well directed. I think it's very well edited.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there are a few jump scares in this that they're not technically jump scares, but they're edited in a way to make it appear as such.
Yeah, we get a really famous one with the mirror.
Yeah.
Where David pushes the mirror back and he just sees Jack standing behind him.
And that's in his makeup number 2.
Yeah.
But even that's not like a... If it was a Blumhouse movie...
Oh, there'd be a fucking massive crash or something
there'd be
that.
like a chun or something there.
Yeah.
That'd be in the trailer.
Blumhouse loves spoiling their fucking
They
movies,
do,
don't they?
Yeah. But that's not the case. I was thinking more like before a werewolf attacks. There's one instance where in the tube station where the guy's like trying to escape and stuff, and then just as he is about to get attacked, we cut to the next day. And he's in London Zoo and there's lions roaring and stuff.
That whole sequence as well is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, a lot of this works as a short film by itself sometimes.
Yeah.
Particularly that one.
I think his first rampage from him changing up until the end where he wakes up in the zoo, I think all that is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you said that there is a sequence that wasn't included in the film where he attacks 3 homeless people. Mm-hmm. Apparently they cut that scene out.
It didn't test well. They cut that one. It's a bit too grotesque. Apparently, a bit uncomfortable to watch.
Okay, because I think I'd like to have probably seen something like that. If the makeup is as good as it is.
Yeah. However, do you not think that less is more?
A little bit. I mean, did you have to show... We could have showed a little bit, maybe.
I see.
Because we see the aftermath anyway when they're in the theatre, and it doesn't look too bad, really, other than it's just a bit of blood splattered on the face, really.
I think that with all those guys, though. Mm-hmm. I think Griffin Dunn's makeup, he looks like he's been ripped open.
He looks like really severe, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this one, I think maybe someone's missing an arm or something.
Yeah.
Or it's just like a blood splatter across the face. Not too dissimilar from what you would see in a Halloween store.
Yeah.
That's my only critique.
But it still works.
Still good. But then, do you not like all the setup with the moors before the werewolf even appears?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to see the wolf to see things happening or the aftermath of something.
Mm-hmm. I thought this film was longer.
It's not a longer film, but I think it's because some of the what's the word? Some of the hospital scenes just drag out way too long. I mean, I know they're trying to establish a relationship between David and I can't remember. Is it Alex?
Jenny Agutter, yeah.
Yeah, I know they're trying to set up a relationship between those characters because her actions are very strange.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've got all the opening scenes with the 2 friends. They go to a pub. They get kicked out. Mm-hmm. We have all the attack sequences, and then he's in hospital for fucking ages, getting over his injuries because really, he's attacked during a full moon, and he's let out a day before the next full moon.
Yeah.
So he's in hospital for a very long time.
Is he though? Because I think once you are a werewolf, don't you heal super quick?
You do, but then he'd have changed, wouldn't he? He only changes with a full moon.
I thought there was a full moon every month.
Yeah.
I thought there was one full moon, and that was all you got.
I get 2 or 3 days of full moon or something like that.
We get a fucking week of them. There's a week of full moons. Just like, calm down, guy. Maybe any time it plays on the radio, that's when it comes out.
Maybe. But say if he was attacked on the last day of the full moon.
Yeah.
That means he's released the day before another full moon. He's been in hospital for a month. Mm-hmm. So I guess they've got to try and establish that relationship between him and his nurse.
Yes.
But it drags. I think it's boring.
It doesn't feel like a month. And also, but they intersperse it, well, they put in those dreams he has.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people who like this movie think those dream sequences are generally quite good. Mm-hmm. I think, this is just me, I think they're a bit shit.
I like maybe 2 of them.
Which ones?
I like the one where she pulls back the curtains.
Uh-huh.
And
there's one there.
And there's the werewolf that attacks her. Well, that's a dream within a dream.
I don't think... There's those ones, and I want to talk about those ones separately. But the one where he's running through the woods and he attacks that deer, that one's fine.
It's very Twilight, that is.
It does feel a bit Twilight. The other one is the one I don't like.
Which is probably one of the most... James,
it's mild.
Really?
It's mild. I appreciate this.
However, it's really James.
However, this ties in with my fear of the music video for Thriller, because that's what Michael Jackson looks like, and I found that scary when I was 8, and I've never really recovered from that.
I do think he looks a little bit like the demon from Exorcist, though, as well. It's not quite a similar makeup.
I think for me, it's eyes.
Yeah, because they're wearing glass contacts.
Yeah, I don't like super creepy eyes. Mm-hmm. There's one scene in The Exorcist where it focuses on the eyes. Yeah. Yeah, when the priest rocks up. Mm-hmm. That I never used to watch. I'd be like, oh, she's staring into my soul. The bit in Thriller where he turns around at the end.
Oh, yeah, and he's got the creepy eyes and he's smiling.
Yeah, and then it fades to black, but the eyes stay there.
Yeah.
Fucking horrible. And then this scene in the hospital bed where he's just like...
And all it is just contacts and teeth.
I appreciate, but for anyone out there who is also scared of that, please get in touch. I know for a fact...
James is struggling.
I know for a fact I'm not alone on this. The zombie werewolf German soldier one.
Scene, yeah.
Now, I understand why it's there, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how it's there.
No, because he's clearly dreaming of being back with his family.
It's him as a kid. He's watching the Muppets.
Well, he's not really a kid. He's just at home, isn't he, studying?
Yeah. I think he's watching the Muppets because Frank Oz is in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, to be first, by the way, I've seen this film so many times over the years.
Yeah.
It was only watching it with you last year that I realised that was his family. At first I thought it was just a random family.
I always thought it was a random family.
It's not well established necessarily that it's his.
Yeah. Then the doorbell rings, and his father goes to answer the door, and then there's just all these fucking things there.
Yeah.
And I don't think those effects are anything near as good as what the werewolf looks like later.
Because all their faces are frozen, they're just masks. I'm sorry, I don't think they look good.
They are just masks. There's a shop in the village we live where there is a mask of that. But I don't understand why they're werewolves and why they're German soldiers.
No.
I thought it was the book that she was reading him. Because I thought, oh, maybe she's reading the book about All Quiet on the Western Front or something.
Oh, yeah, and that's what he's dreaming about.
And then
she's reading it.
That's how dreams work, I guess. But no, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's silly.
Yeah. But then there's a dream in a dream, which I think is quite good.
I think it's really good where it's still carrying on for him. She opens the windows back because she thinks it's the morning, he's woken up, she's still there.
Yeah.
And then it just appears out from behind the curtains.
It's a pretty good jump scare.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, it's quite unsettling, I find.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's being stabbed, and then but Jenny Agutter's selling that as well.
Yeah.
I think, it's quite horrific. Good times. But then then nothing happens in the movie for a long, long time.
No. Because again, they're building up this kind of romance between him and Jenny Agutter's character.
Let's talk about Moondance, shall we?
Yeah, so what do? You're a nurse at a hospital. There's a guy who claims he thinks he could be a werewolf because he's already started to talk about that sort of shit because he's seen Jack in the hotel room with him. Sorry, in the hospital room with him. Mm-hmm. He's told her this. He thinks he's going to be a werewolf. And she invites him back to live with her.
Would you like to come stay with me?
Would you like to stay with me until you go back to America? Mm-hmm. Me with just my double bed.
Mm-hmm. Actually, David, I find you quite attractive and I've slept with 7 other people.
No woman should be doing that.
It's quite clunky, isn't it?
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
Even at the time, it doesn't feel like dialogue anyone would actually say to someone else.
I don't think it's dialogue that Jenny Agutter should be saying.
No, I don't think it would ever have been correct.
No. I find issue with it. I think if there was maybe a script writer who could have done another pass on it.
Yeah.
To make it a bit more realistic.
Yeah, I mean, it's very weird.
The problem is, I think, because the scenes with Griffin done at the start of the movie, most of that is improv between those two, and their relationship is clear.
Yeah.
Whereas this one feels written, and it feels, I don't want to say it, George Lucas-esque.
Yeah. It's a little bit forced almost, and I don't like that so much.
Yeah. That's my issue with that. But I do like that Jenny Agutter scene.
Why do you like that scene, James?
I fancy Jenny Agutter. I'll tell you straight up. So it was the first time I heard that song in my life, and now if I hear that song,
is that all you're thinking about?
That's all I can think of. Oh, that shower scene from American Werewolf.
That shower scene's not very good though. Let's be honest.
It's not particularly interesting.
They kiss each other like loose leaf sheets of paper.
Yeah, I've bitten harder into a salad.
Oh my god!
it's what I'm saying. But then she goes back to work, and then he's like, okay.
So she just left this random man again. She's a nurse.
Yeah.
Just who's squawking on about werewolves in her house.
Uh-huh.
What the hell?
Yeah. I
find that so weird.
You've got to be a bit trustworthy though to do that, haven't you?
So strange.
So strange.
What the ladies you go to for D? Don't let a random stranger into your house like that. No.
Kick him out the next morning.
I mean, the guy's a werewolf. What are you doing?
He might not be a werewolf at this point. It's not established.
But he's clearly off his rocker.
Well, and
he could be dangerous.
Most people are.
Wow.
I do like the scene where we are just waiting with him.
Yeah, waiting for something to happen almost.
Well, first of all, I quite like that. I fucking love that song. Bad Moon Rising, CCR.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And he's just so restless. He's like, I'm not hungry. I don't want to watch TV. I don't know what to do with myself.
What?
It's kind of a build-up. There is a bad moon rising. It's coming.
Yeah. It's not suspenseful.
But you know something's coming.
You know something's going to happen. Because you paid for a ticket to see American Werewolf in London. It'd be weird if you didn't.
Yeah.
Then it goes into transformation scene. And all the scenes where he goes around on a killing spree, quite good.
I agree.
Except actually, those clowns who's like, oh, should we go around the back and bloody jump scare them? Oh. And then they're killed in the back garden of someone's house.
Yeah.
And then someone goes, oh, can you check on that commotion? Or that commotion?
And he goes around the back of the house and he sees the hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always used to think, what the fuck are those two people doing? Why would you go up to someone's house and go, actually, let's go from the back and give them a fright? But then I do know someone who's like that.
Well, yeah.
So actually, those people do exist.
I don't think everyone reacts in this movie the way everyone should react to this movie.
No.
A guy sees an arm in his back garden, and he just looks at it, and he's like, oh, okay.
Well, it's shocked because it then cuts to the phone ringing, doesn't it?
Yeah, but there's another bit like it, and I can't remember what it was. The guy in the porno...
That's a bit later on though, isn't it?
Yeah, but still, like, there's a guy called Terrible Time in the porno theatre, and he's just stood there.
Oh, yeah. So when he starts to transform the second time around in the porno theatre, you people could mistake it for sex noises. He's having a bit of a good time. He's in a theatre watching the noughties. We know what he's doing. But he's very clearly not doing that because he's got both of his hands at the...
He's holding onto the chair in front.
Yeah, and he's saying run.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look well. But that guy's just staring at him. He isn't even just... He's just stood in front of him, not even saying anything.
It's not established if that guy is a worker of that theatre or if that guy is just an attendee of that porno movie.
But why would you not be saying anything unless they've just cut dialogue?
Yeah. And it gives him a close-up as well. And he doesn't really do anything.
It's just stood looking at him.
Maybe raises one eyebrow.
You don't walk up to somebody, just stand in front of them and say nothing. For that long either. Yeah. Because that's weird.
The comedy in this lands for me, though. Particularly in that porno movie. That is a porno movie. It's not a real porno movie. It was made for the movie. So they wrote that dialogue. And the guy walks in and he's like, I told you to stay away from my wife or something. And then the guy's like, oh, I haven't done anything with your wife. And then he's like, oh, sorry. And then he leaves and they carry on doing the porn.
Yeah.
I think that's quite funny.
See, my kind of comedy scene-wise, I really like the zoo bit.
Why?
When he steals the balloons from the little boy. A naked American man stole my balloons.
I like it when there's that shot of him running across the screen and he just steals that coat.
Yeah. But, right, it's an important question.
Oh, God.
He wakes up in a wolf enclosure. Do you think he did the nasty with the wolves?
No.
I think he did.
You think he fucked the wolves?
I think he had a big meal and then he did the business and he went to bed.
So you think the wolves have a relationship with this guy who... Let's see it from the wolf perspective, okay? The wolf is just chilling in the zoo. Then a wolf breaks in, has sex with them, turns into a man and falls asleep.
Yeah. And
then the wolves are just like...
Hey.
Like, what, you okay from last night? What was that about?
Yeah, you're gonna
call me.
You're gonna call me.
Yeah. No, I don't think he fucked the wolves.
But why would he go to sleep with the wolves?
Wolves know what wolves know. I don't know what that means. I'm going to put it on a t-shirt.
Wolves know.
Wolves know what wolves know, and I'll put it with
another quote from James Hallam.
it's my chest tattoo. No, I don't think he fucked the wolves.
I think he did.
No, that's insane.
I think he did.
Why would he?
I think it's like a lion thing.
What? Okay.
You know what I mean? Where
wolves famously travel in packs.
I don't know. I think that happened.
If a werewolf is walking around London and doesn't know where he's going after a big meal, because let's face it, that's the first thing he's going to do. Then he's going to be like, oh, where's the rest of my kind? Finds them at the zoo. Also,
does the segs and then goes to sleep.
Doesn't do the segs. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have sex with the wolves.
I'm going to Google this.
Don't Google it. I don't want that on the search history. Okay. Well, you bring to it... You take from it what you bring to it, so that's on you.
Wow.
I do like the little side story of the doctor, though. Where
he's fabulous.
I'd like a whiskey sour or something. So I'll just have half a Guinness. And he's basically this investigator going to the slaughtered lamb.
Well, basically, the doctor who has been treating Alex has listened to all his ramblings he's listened to what he's kind of said about what happened to Jack and where's all this information gone to. He must have been thinking, well, there's something odd about this.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's wounds were dressed before he even got to the hospital in London. This body has already been treated and it's gone back. The local authorities, is it East Proctor?
I don't know.
Have all said that it was just a madman. I've seen your injuries. Maybe not. Maybe I should listen to find out what happened. So he just goes back and does his own investigations, which is odd in general, because doctors really should be busy doing other things.
Yeah, absolutely. But for a movie...
But he goes back to his proctor and he goes to the slaughtered lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just great, isn't it? I love everybody in that bar.
Let's talk about a few people from that bar. There's Brian Glover, Alien 3 Zone. Mm-hmm. Big fan. There's David Schofield. Hello, David Schofield.
Do his line.
He was trying to deliver this. It's a letter to the king. It's from you.
It took me ages to kind of guess what that from. It's like, fucking pirates.
It's Pirates of the Caribbean. The second one, I think.
But you kept saying it all the way through the film. Every time you saw him, you said it.
It's a letter to the king. It's from you. Also, fucking Rick Mail.
Oh, what an absolute legend he was.
I've researched this. I know why he's in it.
Okay.
John Landis and his crew were in London before, as they were filming, and they saw them two, Rick Mail, Ade Edmondson, do a stand-up comedy gig together.
Okay.
And they liked it so much, they were like, do you want to come be in this movie? We're going to film in wherever we film, the Moors or whatever. And Ade Edmondson didn't think it was true, didn't think it was a real offer.
Okay.
Rick Mail rocked up, though.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, okay, you're in this movie then.
And he's billed as chess player number 2.
Well, he's the second player playing chess.
And he doesn't say anything. He just reacts to different things in the scenes.
For those of you who don't know who Rick Mail is, he's a...
legend.
British legend. Drop Dead Fred Zone, Bottom, The Young Ones, the list goes on.
Yeah, he's a comedy absolute giant. We love him.
Good to see him here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think everyone sells it. Also, they're good actors.
Yeah, everybody in that bar is absolutely selling it.
Even the lady at the bar.
But again, as it turns out, John went to see Nicholas Nickleby in New York.
Yeah.
And absolutely loved a lot of the British cast and hired a lot of them from it.
Good times.
So I think that's, again, you've got all these trained actors playing all these little bit parts. They're all giving it their 100% all.
I think they had a lot of run-ins with the whole working visa thing. Because Griffin Dunn couldn't get one for a long time.
Yeah.
Because of some clause or something.
Yeah.
And then they essentially said, okay, well, we can't make it without Griffin Dunn then, so we'll just go film it in Paris.
Yeah.
And then the film was going to be An American Werewolf in Paris.
Yeah.
Griffin Dunn sorted it out, and then whatever. But I find it interesting that the sequel to this is that.
Yeah, it became Paris. I mean, I've only seen bits of it in a good couple of years ago now. I can't really remember anything of it.
Doesn't it go into the full, like, occult thing for it?
I can't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember it not being for me.
Fair. Also CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pandemonium scene at the end, and it is pandemonium.
Yeah. It's not a very particularly long segment either.
It wraps up quite quickly, I think.
It does, yeah, but it's absolutely iconic. I think setting it in Piccadilly Circus inspired. I think the red of the buses looks great.
Yeah. They only had a small turnaround to do those scenes. London's quite hard to film in.
Yeah, because it's so busy all of the time.
Exactly. Particularly Piccadilly Square, which is, I think, it benefits this movie being at night because you could film it. London is a dead zone in the morning.
Yeah.
So, essentially, they had a 30-minute window to film all this.
Yeah.
And they did it. All the buses crashing, all the cars crashing and stuff like this, all the stunts and stuff. Did it all. John Landis is in there getting run over, which is a vibe. And then they cleared out, and then London...
And off they started off, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's not difficult to film in London.
Not if you know what you're doing and what shots you want to get.
If you've really got to plan it out quite well.
Yeah, because they got lucky with weather and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, which it rains in London a lot.
It's England, isn't it? It's always raining.
Yeah. Then the werewolf goes down to... Well, I quite like the two policemen we get, by the way, who are just bumbling policemen.
Just odd through the movie. They're not really doing any proper investigations because it's the doctor that's doing that.
Yeah, but there's one who's just like a serious policeman and then one who's just not good at his job.
Yeah, can I get a cup of tea?
Yeah, and then one of them... Well, the werewolf comes out of the porno theatre and just bites this guy's head off, the policeman that's doing his job well, which implies that only the policemen left are the ones who aren't very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people died in this.
A lot of people die from the road collisions.
One guy gets plowed over by a bus. I particularly like the car that crashes and then the animatronic head just pops out the window.
Yeah.
I think that's particularly funny. Anyway, the werewolf goes to a dead end. It's a dead end down there.
Werewolf.
Werewolf.
Their wolf.
Their wolf. See, it ties in with the first one.
It all connects.
It all connects. And Jenny Agutter goes, oh, maybe I can change him. She doesn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, she somehow manages to get from this hospital to Piccadilly Circus so fucking quickly. In the middle of a major incident, no doubt.
Yeah.
Which is also unrealistic, guys. The most unrealistic thing about this movie, we've got werewolves. Not as realistic as this, unfortunately.
What is baffling is that one guy gets off Tottenham Court Road by himself.
And all that stuff happens by himself, yeah.
Ooh. I particularly like the score by Elmer Bernstein, legend, where Jenny Agutter goes up to him in the alleyway.
Yeah.
There's like 7 minutes of score here, and people have been desperate for a soundtrack, but it's not worth it because it's only 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
But I find that quite interesting with the...
Yeah. So she goes up to him in the hopes of... They love each other after a few days.
It's been technically months.
Month.
Okay, sorry.
One.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's all you need.
So they love each other after all that. She tells him, you think that he might be understanding, but he doesn't. He lunges for her. Mm-hmm. They shoot him. And they don't hit her. Bearing in mind, they're quite far away.
Yeah.
Also unrealistic.
I think it's unrealistic that the police in London don't carry guns, do they?
No.
So this is all a make-believe.
A make-believe. This is a fairy story,
This is a fairy tale, guys. Do you think he does understand? There's a moment where he says, I love you, David, this isn't you. And the eyebrows sort of shift, and I think the werewolf smiles a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you think there is part of him that understands that, or do you think he's just werewolf?
I don't know, because if he did, then he switches dead quickly, and I don't feel like he's doing that. But it's implied he is.
Okay. I would like to think that there is part of him that...
That's the last of his humanity that's there.
Yeah, and then his urges take over and he lunges for her, yeah.
Yeah.
Before he's then shot and then... But all the werewolves die in that pose.
They have to, because it has to obscure the penis.
Gotta obscure that penis. No more Dr. Pepper adverts for you, David Norton.
No, that's the thing. All werewolves because they have to die naked, you see. They must obscure the peen.
Okay, good. And then that's the end of the movie.
It just ends. It shows his dead body and that's it. It's done.
Short and sweet.
But we didn't need anything more. We didn't need news reports of afterwards or how this character reacts. It's just clean, simple.
I'd argue it's too long.
Done. What, this film?
Yeah.
I think so. I think you could have cut some of the hospital scenes out.
Yeah. It's only an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It flew by watching it tonight.
I think there's some scenes as well with Alex and a random child in the hospital. I think you could have cut them.
Yeah.
You don't need them.
You can cut most of... Well, it shows that she's a good nurse and she's a good person.
You could have done that without having that child there.
Yeah, I guess. But we get that banger of a version of Blue Moon.
We do.
So, you win some, you lose some. Do you think this film's better than Space Jam?
Yes.
I do as well. I don't think it's perfect.
Oh no, not perfect.
But cult classic?
Yes.
Absolutely. Why do you think it's better than Space Jam?
I think the effects alone.
Yeah.
I think Griffin Dunn's especially. Mm-hmm. It's just it's complete peak.
It's felt like a transformation scene for me.
I think there's so many iconic scenes in this, and it inspired so much as well. Mm-hmm. So obviously, the big inspiration will always be Thriller.
Okay.
And we've got to love that video. Sorry, that's so iconic.
Yeah. It was a moment that happened.
But it's an iconic music video.
Oh, can't confirm.
So yeah, I think it's just, again, the scenes around Piccadilly Circus. I think the Tottenham Court sequence is particularly creepy.
When we went to Tottenham Court Road, me and you went up that...
we went up the escalator.
And I was like, we need to turn around right now. So
yeah, because it was going to recreate it, weren't we? I was going to creep up like the wolf and get you.
We hit it at a particularly busy time.
So we couldn't do it because I did want to... I was hungry like the wolf.
Oh, Duran Duran.
To you, yes.
Duran Duran.
Duran Duran.
But yeah, if you go to Tottenham Court Road, that's the station you need to go to. It's the big escalator, you can't miss it. It's changed slightly.
I don't think it has actually.
I think
or has it? I don't know.
Yeah. But that's quite a good shot from down the escalator.
Yeah.
It's my favourite shot from the movie, quite honestly.
Because a lot of the stuff from the tubes have been there since like the Second World War, haven't they? So I don't know.
Yeah, I think Tottenham Court Road had that big update on the station itself, which I think then would affect the escalator.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. But Tottenham Court Road is where you want to go, guys. American Werewolf.
To recreate all your favourite American Werewolf scenes.
Why not?
Go get naked at the zoo.
Do that. Yeah, there's like a Paddington tour and a Harry Potter tour.
Yeah.
Why is there not an American Werewolf tour?
You said this the last time we were in London.
I just think it's an important movie for anyone who wants to know London. Because
Guys,
I think it's fairly accurate.
You can get the tickets to the James American Werewolf in London tour.
Yeah, fuck it. Me and you guys are going to go around Piccadilly Circus and Tottenham Court Road, and then you go to a gift shop.
And then a porno.
Yeah, we go watch a porn. Everyone's having a good time. It's good. It's a good movie, though.
It's a very good movie. What's your favourite part of this?
The transformation scene. Straight up.
And is that better than Space Jam?
That scene alone is better than most scenes in most movies. There, I said it. I like the work of Rick Baker. I think it's just iconic. And I was going to make the title card of this episode that shot of that Mickey Mouse toy.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought only me and you would get that.
Yeah.
But I just love how it, in the middle of all that, it's playing Blue Moon, and then it cuts to Mickey Mouse.
We love to see it. There's Mickey Mouse all over everything. In this
She's
film.
a Disney adult.
Yeah.
Jenny Agutter.
As a we, she could have come to Disneyland with us.
Yeah.
On our Disney moon.
On our Disney moon. Full moon.
Blue moon.
Whoa. That's how our Spooky Dookie movie's over.
Yay, then we're getting into Christmas soon.
No,
Yay!
We've got another holiday to celebrate first.
Christmas.
Hashtag bonfire night, stars are bright.
Christmas.
No, it's bonfire night, because our next episode is V for Vendetta.
Oh, I'm so glad we're watching that, you know. I've not seen it in a few years.
I've seen it once.
Oh, I love it.
You do?
I love me a graphic novel to movie vibe.
You like From Hell, you freak.
I love From Hell. I like The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I shouldn't.
Oh,
I
you
do.
freak. The movie.
I like parts of the movie.
Which parts?
Just some of them.
Yeah, you don't even know. You just said that.
I do.
No, okay.
And I think that's got a good transformation scene with the Dr. Jekyll stuff.
Would you be interested to see how they do the Wolfman next?
Yes, I would. Whether audiences are interested in werewolves is another thing, though. I don't know if they are.
Well, I think the Wolfman, it wasn't well received, the Benicio del Toro one. Mm-hmm. However, the one in charge this time is the guy who did The Invisible Man quite recently.
Okay.
And that was quite good, methinks.
But wasn't Hollow Man popular at the time that came out? Or not? I can't remember.
Oh, Hollow Man's a banger anyway.
So do people like an Invisible Man character, whereas the Wolfman, are people still bothered about that?
It's those old Universal Monsters stuff. I don't think they age particularly well. Dracula you can do any old day.
I mean, I wonder if Nosferatu will do well this December. I mean, I think it's coming out at a crap time.
I think it's coming out at a crap time. However, that cast alone might sell it.
It might do. I think it's missed out on a big opportunity bringing it out early because Joker 2 absolutely bombed. I mean, they wouldn't have known that happening.
It should be out around this time of year.
If it was out around now, it'd be up against Terrifier 3.
Which is a problem, because Terrifier is actually storming it.
And I think one of the reasons it's storming it is because Joker's done so poorly. If Nosferatu was showing now, it'd be giving Terrifier
a bit of a run for money.
It would, yeah.
Because Robert Eggers is involved. I don't want to see
Long leggers.
I don't want to see his career go the way of Northman Man.
Oh yeah.
Who's Northman Man? Is that Robert Eggers? I think it is. I think it is. Yeah. And did that do well? That was January that came out.
It was just after the pandemic as well, wasn't it? It was coming out of the pandemic level stuff.
Yeah.
I thought Northman was mid, but I did like elements of it.
Okay.
I don't think people know how to use Alex Skarsgård personally.
Bill Skarsgård.
No, Bill's in
Bill's in Nosferatu.
Bill's in it, isn't he? Yeah, it's Alex who's in.
Yeah.
Northman.
Yes, no, but Bill's in Nosferatu. He likes the Skarsgård, does Robert Eggers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't feel like that he knew how to use Alex in the Northman.
That's fair. Because he was Tarzan once.
Yeah, they don't really have him saying much.
Yeah. Well, probably a good shout. I don't know if he can act.
I don't mind him in True Blood. I think when they give him something to do, I think he's good.
God.
Some of the seasons of True Blood are good, but it then dropped off a cliff very quickly.
Okay. Well, anyway, spooky dooky time's over. Happy Halloween, everyone!
Happy Halloween!
Ooh, spooky!
Ooh, spooky time!
Bonfire night next.
And we V for Vendetta.
It's going to be tricky selling that episode in the US. Hello, people from the US who are listening to this. But yeah, it's going to be tricky. They don't know what that is, do they?
But they'll know what the mask is.
The Jim Carrey movie?
No, the V for Vendetta mask.
Oh, right, okay.
It's quite. I think it's become very popular, hasn't it?
Synonymous with Anonymous.
Yes, so people will recognise that.
Okay, good. Also, I think that film is quite well received over there. But we'll see. I can't wait to watch it again because, again, I
There's some lengthy dialogue scenes, and that's you like a monologue.
I do like a monologue. I'm a monologue boy. Hashtag Mike Flanagan. Anyway, but yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy Halloween.
Have a good Halloween, guys.
We'll see you bonfire night.
Ooh.